and welcome back to the show. Lindsey, what is in your lens today?
Well, we're talking about Epstein once again. We don't know why the Trump administration suddenly reversed course this summer on its promise to release extensive new documents in the Jeffrey Epstein case. What we do know is that every time the public has demanded answers, we've gotten half measures, moves that look good on paper, but ultimately protect the powerful more than the truth. That's why Republican Congressman Thomas Massie stepped forward with a measure that would force the Department of Justice to release every single Epstein document that exists. He's just 2 Republican votes away from making that happen. In the White House, they immediately fired back, warning any Republican that supports Massie's petition is committing a, quote, hostile act. Let's pause right there. If the administration is truly committed to full transparency, why fight so hard against it? Well, Massie seems to know the answer. Let's take a look.
I think it's going to be embarrassing to some of the billionaires, some of the donors who are politically connected to his campaign.
And then he went further. Let's take another look.
There are probably intelligence ties to our CIA and maybe to other foreign intelligence, and the American people would be shocked, I think, to know that our intelligence agency was working with a pedophile who was running a sex trafficking ring. So these are the reasons I think that they're resisting this. But we can't avoid justice just to avoid embarrassments for some very powerful men.
Now, this is where things get even murkier. So the acting deputy chief of the Justice Department, Joseph Schnitt, was caught on hidden camera saying the government will, quote, redact every Republican from an Epstein client list. That video was released by the O'Keefe Media Group, a far-right outlet. But the point is undeniable. The Epstein case is splitting the Trump administration and the MAGA base right down the middle. And yet, instead of showing concern for survivors, the president himself is downplaying the scandal. Look at him last week.
But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
Irrelevant. Maybe irrelevant to the president's idea of success, but not irrelevant to the survivors of sexual abuse. One survivor made that crystal clear. Let's watch.
Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
Now that's the heart of the issue. Sexual violence is not partisan. It's actually a national crisis. More than 423,000 people ages 12 and up are sexually assaulted in the U.S. every single year. Nearly 70% are between the ages of 12 and 34. Now, behind those numbers are children, teenagers, and young adults whose lives are derailed by this trauma, while too many abusers continue to walk free. Yet even now, the Justice Department is fighting to keep names secret. Just days ago, they asked a federal judge to block the unsealing of an Epstein associate, actually 2 of them, who received 6-figure payments from him in 2018. And their reason, quote, privacy concerns. Privacy for Epstein's associates, not for his victims. So we're left asking, why does our system protect predators more fiercely than it protects survivors? Why are powerful names still hidden while survivors have to plead to be seen? If we're serious about justice, then full transparency is not optional. Survivors deserve to be believed, heard, and protected. And no one, no matter how rich or powerful or politically connected you are, should ever be above accountability. America has to stop protecting predators and start putting survivors first.
Okay. Why do we even need to wait for Congress to do anything? We saw all these alleged victims at a press conference.
They said they're going to put together their own list.
Let's do it now.
Yes, and they could be working on that too. But
now,
you're asking the people that have been deeply traumatized, that are also interested, because Thomas Massie said on ABC on Sunday that he spoke to the survivors and they agree with what he's doing. They want him to get the signatures to move forward to release everything. They are asking him to go about that way so we can see who is being protected. Thomas Massie explained that even if they put out a survivors list, a list of people who have wronged survivors, there still is a reason that people want to understand, even the people who are victims, as to why the government, if they were working with Epstein, why they were so closely protecting somebody who was a known pedophile. Because there's been arguments that he's working with our government and other international governments. A representative in Congress is saying that on national television.
You're not going off at all. You don't feel like
for women that are saying they're sexually assaulted, not at all.
For a ride by these people?
No, I'm absolutely not. I don't think that it's going off at all. I'm not being taken for a ride. I believe when women say they've been sexually assaulted, and I would like to follow through, and I think our government should.
I don't automatically believe any claim anyone makes on any subject. I think people who come forward...
But we know... Why is it hard to believe when we know that Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted pedophile, and we know that Ghislaine Maxwell is convicted as well and assisted him?
So we know that there are Jeffrey Epstein raped me. I could make that...
No, but there are people that he's done this to, people that we know of and people that we don't know of, obviously. So why can't these women be of those people? And these women have no political affiliation that they're...
I was among the... So when you go into the backstories of some of these women, they initially did not claim that they were abused. Then years and years and years later, when it became clear there was going to be a massive financial payday, this is what Michael Tracy has done such good work uncovering, when it was clear that there's going to be millions of dollars potentially for you to reinterpret your experience working at Mar-a-Lago or wherever as assault. Oh, you know what? It was misconduct. Yeah. See, that makes my BS.
Well, that's actually one perspective and analysis of it, but the other analysis could be that some women don't want their lives to be now defined by trauma, being raped or sexually assaulted, and so they decide to push it aside and not have to explain it to their daughters, to their husbands, to the people around them, to their jobs, right? Because it's such a high-profile case, why they maybe went missing as they're suing somebody, the taxation that it takes on your life if you actually go down the rabbit hole against a billionaire. So people could have chose all these things, and then you decide years later that you're like, hey, okay, there's a group of women, a coalition that's saying there'll be money involved and also some type of remedy to how I was wronged. I don't care if you accept the money or not. Why women don't speak, there are a list of reasons that you could find online where women will explain why they were silent or didn't speak, because they're shamed into thinking that nobody will believe them, first of all. So that's the first and number one reason. And then the other reasons are because of all the trauma that comes with reliving the experience. So they have the option to not speak up. Survivors do have
the most likely reason.
It's not therapy. You go to therapy to learn.
The most likely reason someone says it one way on this day and later says it a different way is that they are lying. That is the most likely reason, that they change their perspective for financial gain,
I don't think when it comes to sexual assault, that's the most likely reason.
Sexual assault is not different from
yes, it is
any
different.
other
That's not the same thing as me
things.
lying about, oh, Robbie, I stole your pen yesterday and changed my mind because you said the cameras were rolling. No, that's totally different when something this traumatic happens to you. Some people,
There's
Robbie,
a financial incentive.
No, some people don't want to be defined by this trauma. You have to accept that. Like if something that egregious happened to you, there's some people who do not want to continue to relive it, and that's okay. I mean, I've interviewed people who said they don't want to continue to talk about this and heard enough stories that this is a recurring theme. Everyone is not lying. And yes, there have been liars before. And yes, people have been sued and criminally charged for the wrong reasons. And we can go down a different conversation about that. But do I believe these women who took the time out to put their face on national TV and say that I was a victim of Jeffrey Epstein? Yes, I do believe that. I'm going to start there and then let their case. I believe them, okay?
Well,
and Epstein is guilty already. It's not
respect.
innocent until proven guilty. He's already guilty of doing this to multiple women.
But they're not accusing Epstein. They're accusing anonymous other figures that they won't exactly say who.
Right, they want to know who else was around. So Epstein wasn't just doing these trips by himself. He wasn't just getting massages alone. We know all this information.
Claims presented without any evidence can be dismissed.
You last week said that these women are not naming names because they will get sued out the gazoo. That's what you said to me last week. You think that if they say out loud that they will say the names, that they probably will get sued by whatever agreements they made. And so if that's the case, then maybe that's why they're not saying names. They're going to put a client list together for themselves because you're powerful in numbers if you all understand what happened. And hopefully they can present it to Congress where they won't be prosecuted for sharing with them. And hopefully Congress can do its job.
Yeah, they took the money for a variety of reasons. And I think that speaks to your credibility to continue talking on this issue. But I favor all transparency. We can clear this up very quickly and just find out who is involved. But
I think it'll be Democrats and Republicans. So what is Trump so scared of? I think it'll be billionaires. I think it'll be a lot of people. But why are we protecting them? I just don't understand the connection to protecting them, especially when
there's no one to protect. Because there's nothing. It's nothing. Eventually,
you are on an island with this. A lot of people believe there's something.
Well, a lot of people believe there are aliens. But when those people go at that hearings and say, oh, yeah, there's all these files and all these records and all these things, then show it to me, and then they can't demonstrate that, again, my BS meter goes off. Eventually,
Aliens
shown
and sexual assault are not the same thing. I
thing.
just told you 423,000 women get sexually assaulted every year in the U.S. Aliens, we do not see 423,000 of them every year in the U.S. Nobody's even
I'm not denying
seen
that people
one.
get sexually
All right, so then
assaulted.
it's not the fact that this is like
Okay, because
aliens.
some people
You're
get sexually
comparing a
assaulted doesn't
ridiculous. No, that's not even a good analogy in any world. This actually happened. Jeffrey Epstein actually committed these crimes, and these women are saying that it happened to them, and they're just asking Congress to look further into it. And if you think that's too much of a request, that's to me a little bit ridiculous when you know that he has done this to young girls. The most
This is
egregious
not about
thing,
him. This is about other people.
yes, because other people were there, and like other people, there's photos, there's information about this.
Other
Don't-
people were there, so now other people were there, so they must have been guilty of sexual misconduct?
No, we should find out if they are, and we shouldn't protect them just because they're billionaires. And if a congressman is going on national TV and saying he thinks other billionaires, Democrat and Republican and donors are involved, then we should look into it, right? Because the last thing or the most important thing for us as the U.S. should be to protect children that were sexually assaulted, especially. No?
Yes, but that's very emotionally manipulated. Like, it's for the children.
No, these were children.
have
These
to
were
believe.
children. They're 14-year-olds.
Show me the evidence. I will happy to change my mind if I have changed my mind in this direction because of a lack of evidence presented. Even though by officials over and over again who swore there was information they would release it. What I suspect is they came to the conclusion that there isn't new information, new credible information to release. So I have changed my opinion on this based on new evidence, unlike everyone else who takes any interest in this story, which no amount of lack of evidence for their position emerging
So why
can
not just
move them in any
release
direction.
all the documents that Thomas Massie is asking for? We'll squash this, right?
Good.
It should be on the same team.
Release it,
and then
but
we'll be done with it.
because thousands and thousands of pages of documents have already
And
been
John
released,
Thune, a
and
senator,
no
is saying that he's
number
gonna
of documents
as soon as it
will
makes its way to
ever
Senate, that
convince
he's gonna
people,
shut it down.
just like no new information on the moon landing or the JFK assassination will ever convince people obsessed with this that they were wrong.
Now people are obsessed.
People are clearly obsessed with this. I want more disclosures. I just don't think you're going to get anything new, but I'd be happy to be wrong. A new poll of Gen Z voters is showing a large political and gender division coming up, why young men and young women seem to have very different ideas of what constitutes success.